The genocidal rhetoric of some Israeli officials and their allies isn't just continuing, it's actually getting even more explicit and more threatening as the assault on Gaza continues. Now, on a recent radio show in Israel, a local official called to flatten Gaza like Auschwitz today. So this was an interview with a gentleman named David Azoulay, who is the head of the town of Metula's council, and is in. The interview was in Hebrew, but according to Haaretz's translation, here's what the conversation contained. So Azoulay said that while he is not a far-right person, in the wake of October 7th, Gazans should be told to go to the beaches where Israeli ships will load them up, the civilians, the terrorists they have there, and place them on Lebanon shores where there are enough refugee camps. In other words, we should do ethnic cleansing. That's what this is. This is ethnic cleansing. But there's more. Asked what should be done with the Gaza Strip should his plan with regard to its residents be enacted, Azoulay explained that it should be left empty, just like Auschwitz, a museum, so the whole world will learn what the state of Israel can do. We're not done yet though, there's more, believe it or not. The Strip, he said, should then be turned into a huge buffer zone. From the sea to the border fence, completely empty, so that everyone remembers what was once there. Flatten everything, just like Auschwitz is today, he reiterated. Now, his comments were so egregious that the X account for the Auschwitz Museum responded to it and condemned his statements. I want to read it to you. They write, memory of victims of Auschwitz has at times been violated and instrumentalized in various extreme statements. David Azoulay appears to wish to use the symbol of the largest cemetery in the world as some sort of sick, hateful, pseudo-artistic symbolic expression, calling for acts that seem to transgress any civil, wartime, moral, and human laws that may sound as a call for murder of the scale akin to Auschwitz, puts the whole honest world face to face with a madness that must be confronted and firmly rejected. We do hope that Israeli authorities will react to such shameful abuse, as terrorism can never be a response to terrorism. I give the Auschwitz Memorial so much credit for that statement. I couldn't have asked for a better statement in response to the disgusting comments that we heard from David Azoulay here.
Yeah, so he didn't say that, so it's a testament to so you can see what Israel can withstand. He said so that you can see what Israel can do, what they can commit. And so look, guys, this is unfortunately a part of humanity. If you think that any one group is more likely to do X or Y or Z, you're just wrong. It's in the nature of man. And so unfortunately, this happens throughout history where a group is oppressed or kept down, abused, etc. And then when they have power, they do likewise. And so is this the same as Auschwitz? God, I hope not. And it certainly isn't on that scale at this point, for sure. But when an Israeli official alludes to that analogy, that is a terrible, unsettling thing to say the least. And so, it's not that, like just want to be super clear that this group does it or that group does it. It's a power dynamic, guys. I've been telling you about that throughout this entire conflict. The powerful almost always overreach and are overconfident and do too much oppression, and they do propaganda to say that, oh no, it's their fault, they had it coming, that they made us do this. In fact, that's the exact propaganda used against Jews throughout the history of the world. It's not that we were terrible to the Jews and did pogroms and Holocaust, etc. It's that they did something to deserve it, right? And that's the stereotypes, the tropes, the propaganda, etc. Now that dynamic has been switched onto the Palestinians. They made us kill their children because they were using them as human shields. Total nonsense propaganda, right? They made us wipe them out. They made us do X, Y, or Z. We have a right to defend ourselves. These are the same things that have been used throughout time when the powerful want to crush and oppress the powerless. In this case, Israel feels like it's invincible. Not only does it have a military that is so much larger than, well, the Palestinians don't have any military, so much larger than anything the Palestinians have, but really they've beaten all the Arab nations combined several times, and they have the might of the US military behind them.
Exactly.
So they feel like, well, they could not only do it, but now begin to say brazenly, we'll turn this into an Auschwitz. We'll flatten the place, we'll destroy and either move or kill everyone inside. And that is a sign of unfortunately, a society that has decayed. And again, it has nothing to do with their religion or their ethnicity. It's the state of the power dynamics there. And that is why it is incumbent upon friends like us, America, to say you've gone too far. You've got to bring this back. Otherwise, you're going to cause untold damage, not just to the Palestinians, but to yourselves. Well, yeah, this is beyond anything that's bearable. And I assume, of course, there'll be congressional hearings.
Right.
This is a call for genocide.
No, of course not. And in fact, I just want to do a quick tweak on what you just said, Cenk, about how it's incumbent upon Israel's allies, namely the United States, to be a real friend to Israel and not just ask them to reel it in, but to force them to reel it in. And by force, what I mean is you're not getting any more military aid. You're not getting any more, foreign aid if you continue to carry out what you are continuing to carry out in the Gaza Strip. There's too much slaughter happening, too many children dying, and we are not going to allow this to happen with our bombs, okay? But we're not getting that. Instead, we're getting, lukewarm statements from the Biden administration. I mean, I watched Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin's press conference yesterday. I watched the whole thing. The question and answer part, I think, is the most enlightening portion of the press conference because he was specifically asked, okay, well, is there a timeline? Is the United States implementing some sort of timeline for Israel to reel this war back in and basically change their behavior so we don't see as many civilians dying as a result of this war? And you know what Lloyd Austin said? Just straight up, no timeline, this is Israel's war. Okay, so if you're not willing to threaten the military funding, if you're not implementing some sort of timeline, if there's really no genuine, sincere ask here, does the Biden administration not realize how weak they look when they keep saying over and over again, Israel needs to be careful to protect the civilians. Israel needs to be careful to protect the civilians, and then they don't do it, right? Israel does the exact opposite. That makes the American government under the leadership of Joe Biden look pathetic and weak. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and guys, we gotta ask, did anybody ever really mean it when they said never again? Because we have eyes, we can see what's happening. 90% of Gaza is destroyed, 90% of the population is homeless now. And 29,000 bombs dropped, nearly 20,000 dead, over 9,000 kids dead. What did you mean never again? Did you mean never again only to specific people or only to our side generally, only to the West? What did you mean never again? Because when you say here's $14 billion extra to commit more war crimes and further genocide with no check at all, what you're saying the opposite of never again. You're saying do it again and again.
And I want to just note, we're not cherry picking here because there have been genocidal statements in support of ethnic cleansing by multiple government officials in Israel. And I want to give you a few other examples. So last month, Israeli Security Cabinet member and Agriculture Minister Avi Dicher of Netanyahu's Likud party said in an interview that Israel is rolling out the Gaza Nakba when shown images of residents of northern Gaza evacuating south on the IDF's orders. His comments came a few days after another government lawmaker, Jerusalem Affairs and Heritage Minister Amichai Eliyahu, suggested in a radio interview that dropping a nuclear bomb on the Gaza Strip is an option since there are no non-combatants in Gaza. Now, this individual was briefly suspended as a result of the nuclear statements here, but obviously that kind of punishment isn't really dissuading them from saying more genocidal garbage. And so some politicians here in America, in the United States, are parroting this type of rhetoric, which is incredibly dangerous.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.